When I was 17, I had a Mark IV Golf just like this one. I was broke, clueless, but absolutely convinced that I could build my dream car. Unfortunately though, what I ended up with was a badly modified mess on wheels. Today, I'm returning to the car where it all started, undoing my mistakes and finally building the Mark IV Golf I always dreamed of. Right, so we're still going to go with that same flavour, the OEM kind of swapping sort of flavour, but there is lots to do to this car. My first idea, let's just deconstruct. Let's go back to basics. So we're going to remove everything that we don't need and be left with the shell of a Mark IV Golf.
So what's coming off?
Bumper, lights, side skirts, rear bumper, boot lid, all the wheels, the brakes, the rear suspension, the front suspension, the rear actual mounts for the suspension, we'll take those out. Just a few bits, just a few. A mark of a good, well-cared-for Volkswagen still has its original, look, Volkswagen branded wheel nut covers. That's a sign that that's been owned by a well-to-do person, not a horrific Mark IV Golf human like I was, going, sick clothes, man, those are nice. Oh, hello, mate.
With the first wheel now off, we noticed something interesting.
Yeah, no, you just want to put a dab of copper grease, meanwhile the man with the fire hose of copper grease.
So with that interesting discovery, we continued stripping down the Golf by removing the front bumper.
There are some bumper mounts just under here, which are behind this grille, which you'd already taken out for the track day. Ben, I'd like to get the other grille out. I was fully oh, gliving out, interesting.
I don't like having dirty hands.
No, so okay, so you're confident there's no clips, nothing you need to undo.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Okay.
Look at the stance. I've never seen a human work on a car like this. Just pulls out.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Go away.
This is really interesting. Oh, now I didn't capture the feet there.
It's like sort of like boom, boom.
No, if we could get that.
It was more sort of like.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Like that. Simple as that. I love when companies do this, when they just have one connector for the whole light. That's nice. Progress on the front end going well, I got to work removing the crusty old wing, and in doing so, discovered exactly why it had rusted so badly.
It's been bad. How? The other side's bad, but that's like 5 times more.
That's mental. Jesus, that's maybe half of it. There's a whole ecosystem that could be living in there. Generations of worms have been living in this. Where does this go? Back in the earth? With that cleaned out, I removed the old wing. It's actually so bad that it's cracked the wing in half. Do you want to check in there if there's rust, Ben?
No, okay.
All good? Right. I'll stick that back on. I've now sanded back basically all of the rust that was sat here. It was actually, thankfully for us, mostly just surface rust. But if you leave it there, it will rust more. So we're now going to paint it so that there is protected metal on there. You can use primer, you can use paint, whatever you want. It could be green for all I care, but there's some leftover VHD black, so. That'll dry by the time we get our new wing. But first, Will is doing something on the other side.
What are you doing?
I'm about to take things apart. Related to the suspension and the brake.
To translate myself, I was stripping down the brakes and hubs, along with removing the old suspension struts.
And meanwhile, I was busy tearing down the Golf's rear end. Will, you be getting rid of these for clear indicators.
The orange. Amber shit.
So you can get clear lights, and then R32s also have different lights from memory, but I like the orange. I don't know what it is. Something against the black, I like the orange, so they're gonna stay. But I know I'm gonna be outvoted on this one, but don't care, didn't ask. Lights out, I fought for ages with the rear bumper, trying to remove it, until eventually I got it off.
And at the front of the car, I was fighting the suspension strut, which was really seized in the hub.
Now, while Edwin is carrying on with the Golf next door, I thought I'd give you a little update on the Fiesta. There's another episode on the Fiesta next week, but it's back from the body shop, and I'm over the moon with it. It's so good. So we've got body matched bits here. The bumper has been repaired and repainted, so it is now completely clean and really nice. The side strips have been matched, the door handle's been matched, and most importantly, this front bumper has now been properly paint matched. So this is all complete. We're missing that tow eye cover, which I need to order, and we've got our plates on. And that's fortunate, because if you buy this car in the future, you can run a car vertical check just using this number plate.
That's right, because every single day hundreds of cars get crashed, but some of them get repaired and put back on the road in an attempt to hide their shady past. With a car vertical report, you can find out that dodgy history.
All you need to do a car vertical report is the number plate, or you can use the car's VIN, and then a car vertical report will tell you if that car has been crashed, stolen, or clocked.
Now take for instance the Golf that I've bought next door. Thankfully for me, it does have green ticks for mileage, finance, and damage, but a new feature is the car vertical score, which will rate the car and tell you how good it is using a variety of factors. So you can see that we've got -10 points for defects over time, and then we've got -26 points for operation, which is times where the car's maybe sat for years. Car vertical will give the car you're looking at a score and give you a good overview of how good or not it is.
Now here we have a Golf with a lower score than Edwin's Golf, and if we scroll down, we've got 2 yellow markers. One of them is for damage. This car had a structural Cat S write-off all the way back in 2019. We can see that there are actually photos of the car when it was at a salvage yard. Someone may try and sell this car without telling you about any of this history as a completely clean car, but with a car vertical report, you can find out all of this shady past.
So next time you're buying a car, van or motorbike, or even your first ever car, make sure that you run a car vertical check, make sure the price you pay for it matches its history.
And as an added bonus, the guys from Car Vertical are offering you 20% off when you use our code TDC. So when you buy your first car, support the channel, use our discount code. Now let's get back to the Golf.
Right, the car, I mean, as you can see by the pile down there,
Disassembled.
There's half a car there and half a car here. We've got the no front wing, and then Will has discovered something interesting that I forgot about, that I remembered now, but I did not when we bought the car. The 1.6 Golf has this, usually your hub, your part of where all of your stuff bolts to. You have a carrier for your caliper that bolts on to the hub. However, this is part of the hub. I forgot about that, which means we can't do the very cool thing that we're planning to do later in the episode. So we need to go and find some parts. And I thought, when you're 17, you don't have money to go and buy brand new. You don't go to Volkswagen. You don't go on eBay. You go, where's a local scrapyard? So let's go to the local scrapyard and see if we can find a wing for the other side and some knuckles. Right, so we're at the local scrapyard. It's a good sign. The first thing that we saw when we walked in was a man walking out with a Mark IV Golf rear bumper.
So there's one in here somewhere.
There's got to be someone.
After getting distracted,
That's actually that's an individual interior. So those are incredibly rare seats.
we found the Golfs.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3 Mark IVs. But as I looked more closely, I noticed something. Oh, that wing's mashed. So we've got a smashed in front right wing, a smashed in front right wing, and a smashed in front right wing. So nothing here for us. Refusing to give up, I went to find out if we'd missed anything. Hiya. Just wanted to see if you guys had a part in stock that's not up on the ramp. Unfortunately not. Tried our 17-year-old best to scrounge an old part, but we'll just have to buy one off eBay. Back at the unit, I cheered myself up by giving the Golf's crash bar and wheel wells a proper clean, ready for the new parts. I feel happy. This is felt like I'm getting back in touch with my first car. I've just gone around cleaning things. It's not perfect, but look at that. That's shiny ass exhaust. That's looking like an aftermarket one from factory. But more importantly, we've now got things to do at the rear. You can see all of our suspension is gone. That's because we have stuff coming. But the next issue, you might remember Will had an infinite wheel bearing on his Fiesta. This one, not great. It's a very common thing on Mark IV Golfs that the rear caliper seizes. So we have thankfully got a brand new set of calipers from Febby. Shout out Febby. They had upwards of 30 pages of things for this car. It took a lot in me not to order everything, but we do at least have new calipers so we can actually get my wheel bearing spinning. I'm saying that robbed me of speed on the track. That's why I was slower than Will. I got to work removing the stiff rear brakes, and after some struggling, I realised exactly why it was so difficult. Jesus. I know what I've been doing wrong the whole time.
I have a chair.
It's a bloody chair, isn't it?
Is this evidence once again that the chair is the best tool in the world?
Chair's the best tool. Whoa! Get that on these big jobs. There we go. Right, Ben's just missed the shot because he didn't film it. I don't know what he's here for, really. So the wheel bearing's okay. Nothing wrong with the wheel bearing, so it was the caliper that was causing it to freeze. The other thing that is very important that we're going to do is to do with this. This is where your kind of trailing arm mounts. So right there, he's halfway up the arch.
Yes.
Yeah? If I lower him up, see how he's now closer to the front?
He's moved left.
He's moved to the front because it swings up. The byproduct of that is when you lower Mark IV Golfs, or when you used to lower Mark IV Golfs, the wheel would sit further to the front than the rear, and you get this weird space here, which I hated with all my heart and soul. Now, it's probably because I was 17, but I never realized there was a solution for it. And they are, I'll get them, offset plates like these. So these you mount under this piece here, which holds the whole kind of thing on, to bring that back in line a bit and keep the center of it in the middle. But that change eliminates that horrible, nasty look.
Sorry.
What's that?
What is this NASCAR caliper thing?
Minimal brake fluid loss.
Did you see that?
I missed that entirely.
Yeah, swap the line over, kept the O-ring straight in there, bottom and top, off it goes. Lovely.
With the rear brakes done, Edwin moved on to fitting the offset plates to solve that issue with the wheel placement from earlier.
This is where a whole rear beam kind of mounts to. There is now space in here. And in that gap, I installed the plates, after which it was just a simple case of reattaching everything. Right, so you can see in there now, the offset plates are in. So when you lower the car, this will come in and sit perfectly in the center. This has always been one of my biggest pet peeves with Mark IV Golf. I never knew there was a way to fix it until I was researching this now. So if you're one of those Mark IV Golf people who have awful weird fitment where your wheel is sitting kind of around about there, go and get some of these plates. They take like 20 minutes to fit. It's very easy.
Offset plates installed, we got a pretty exciting delivery.
Mr. Tong Yang has arrived. This is our new front wing. Let's have a look what Tong Yang has to offer. Look at that. I mean, that's certainly a front wing for a car. Lovely.
Wing.
So obviously this car will go off for paint, but what we have next, headlights and bumper, and these are very cool.
Light. Ooh.
A set of genuine Mark IV Golf R32 headlights, but they're Xenons, and these are not.
So that is a ballast, which is what powers your Xenon headlight, which is much brighter. And in a Xenon headlight, you have a projector housing in the front, which you're meant to have. I put HIDs in my Fiesta without the projector housing, and it is akin to a large star shifting down the road, and you're just going to blind everyone. More of a torture method for other drivers, really.
You'll see this little cable here, which converts the R32 wiring into a standard Golf wiring. R32s don't have headlight leveling because of the Xenons, something to do with that. I don't know much. But this has had a conversion so that it still has headlight leveling, like a correct Mark IV should. So all we should have to do is plug him in. But I might have spoken too soon. Nothing?
Nothing.
Interesting.
They're trying. You got nothing.
Interesting.
They're making a hell of a racket.
After a quick investigation, I made a slightly embarrassing realization. Do you know why? Do you know why they don't work? Because we haven't put the bulbs in yet for the Xenon lights.
So with the bulbs now actually in, we went for another attempt.
Boink.
Side light and headlight.
Oh. Man, I always wanted these.
Look at that.
How cool that is. And now, for the front, we have another pièce de résistance. Now, you all were probably expecting this day one. It's a Mark IV Golf, therefore it needs a Golf R32 front bumper, but not any bumper. Ben, come look here. Stamped mouldings. This is an original R32 bumper. This is no Team U special. This is a proper one. Oh, okay. Oh, that's fitting nicely. Man. Now from here, Ben, if you come and look here, that's kind of like Midnight Club lot starter car. Primered fender, different colour bumper, the sketchy bonnet. But the front is only the start. Rear and sides. Oh, so sorry, excuse me. Oh. Back in the early 2000s, Volkswagen decided everyone's modifying these cars. We should get on this too. They offered an R-Line body kit for the Mark IV Golf. This is the most sought after part. An original Volkswagen one is now worth 1,500 to 2 grand. That's too much. So there are these replica ones. So you can have one that fully covers it if you have like a downturn tip, like a diesel. You can have a single tip for a Golf GTI, and then you can have dual tip for R32s. Now, would you like to see, Will, you'll like this, the method that they have used to block the bumper? Expanding foam. So yes, as you can see, it's quite a replica.
As you might expect, it being a replica only proved to be an issue when it came to fitting.
Don't know what that noise was. Oh God. Oh, there we go.
Eventually, though, we had a realisation.
As you would imagine, the replica bumper doesn't fit perfectly. I could have sworn they said it would fit this car. No, it's hitting on this tab here. This tab is poking too far out. There is a hole, as you can see on the back side. So that's sticking out too much. So what I'm going to try is just trim it down to see if we can save using this bracket, because it's kind of part of the whole bumper. But we'll see. It may need more chopping off. It's basically on now. This we will give over to Chris at Imagination Creations for him to, I was going to say look at, I think deal with is the better term here. So that is semi-successful. Let's do the side skirts. The front bumper, the rear bumper, even the seats, you can all switch between a 3-door and a 5-door. The one difference there is these, the side skirts, have to be for a 5-door. He's got long there and then it flicks up at the end, whereas a 3-door kind of flicks up in just past the middle here, where there's only 3 doors. Weird.
The side skirts still needed paint matching to the rest of the Golf, so there was no point properly mounting them just yet, but we could at least get an idea of how they would look when the car was done.
I like it. On to the most important thing. Suspension, brakes and wheels. And so I can now actually mount the coils and new brakes onto the car, I had ordered some new knuckles from a Golf GTI. So here is our original hub. This is what I was talking about, where you can see the carrier for the brakes is part of the hub. You can't take this off. Whereas this is a hub from a GTI. These are where the actual caliper mounts on, which is perfect for us.
Before getting them in though, Edwin and I finished up the rear, installing the coilovers.
Right, we've got the rear suspension all back together. Because the replacement hubs we used parts, I got to work refreshing them, starting by removing the old wheel bearings. There we go. After removing the circlip, I was able to get the hub into the press and remove the bearing, which went well. Now when I bought these used bearings, he did say one of the wheel bearings is not particularly good, so we're changing them out anyway to refresh them. The hubs were in decent condition, but for this Golf to be perfect, I needed to make everything exactly how I wanted, and crusty looking hubs simply wouldn't do.
So after giving them a proper clean, Edwin broke out the spray paint and gave them a new lease of life.
And with them looking way better, I installed the new bearings. Although I always wanted a show car when I was 17, we don't have show car money at 17 or now, but little things like this, just a new brake dust shield, will look a whole lot better with something like that on it. Just little things. New hubs back together, we could install them along with the coilovers into the front of the Golf, and then move on to the final and most exciting mods, which I've wished that I could do since I was 17 years old. So even at 17, I was fully aware that wheels were by far the most important thing. Will, just like your Fiesta on the Compomotives, they're the thing that truly set it off. Volkswagens, people like to put the biggest, stupidest wheels they can fit on a Mark IV Golf, and the classic thing was to put Porsche wheels on. So I went out and bought a £300 set of 996 wheels. They didn't fit, they looked dumb, they looked wrong. I couldn't afford my favourite set of wheels ever, the Porsche Lobster Claws. And can you guess what we've gone for?
Oh, wallop.
When I say I dreamed of these, I had dreams of these on my Mark IV Golf. They are the coolest wheel possible. But there's an issue. These are the front wheels, and then the rears have this very cool kind of dish. The issue is that on Porsches, on 911s, which these came on, these are 8 inches on the front, and the rears are 11 inches. If you want to get these 11-inch rears to fit, you're doing real big camber gangs, you're getting the thinnest tyres on earth, and I don't like that. So I did the thing that no one does when you're 17, and that's research. The Cayman of the same generation came with a narrower rear, so you don't have to have 4 fronts, because that's what most people do. So went on the internet, found a set, got them refurbished. Now we're ready to stick some tyres on. I've been waiting for this for 10 years.
So not to waste a second longer, we threw some fresh new tyres onto these insanely nice wheels.
Look, I'm not going for stance, I'm not going for stretch, but I'm also not going for track meets. That's a perfect middle ground.
It's nice.
I'll take that. With the wheels ready to go on, it was time for the mod I'd been most excited for. Putting big Porsche wheels is cool. I did it on my car, but there's an issue. Your brakes behind there don't match, which is why we're putting these on it. Look at the size of that. These are 18Z calipers, which you find on Porsche Cayennes and Volkswagen Touaregs. They are 6-pot calipers, so they've got 6 pistons, and are absolutely huge. Look at the comparison next to the original caliper. That's obscene. The brakes were originally red when I bought them, but that simply wouldn't do for me because I hate everything red. So I took them down to Chris from Imagination Creations, who painted them in matching Porsche Speed Yellow. To go with it, we have some upgraded discs. It's quite different. I have been so excited to put these on a car forever. So you'll remember that we changed out the knuckles of the car because the original one had a one-piece caliper and knuckle. However, there's a problem. If I take these new Porsche calipers and I put them over, they don't fit. They have a different mounting bracket. However, there are people out there that will work this out and make an adapter bracket. So now when I put this on here, that bolt lines up there, and then we've got the holes at the top and the bottom, which will fit onto this, meaning that you can bolt these calipers up to this car. So, like a kid at Christmas, I began installing these ridiculous new brakes. It's not lost on me that a car with 100 horsepower does not need brakes the size of the moon, but it's because it looks cool. And when you're 17, it's not about performance, it's about looking cool in the McDonald's car park. That's just dumb. That's stupid, but cool. Will, thoughts?
That's far too big. But they're very cool.
The brakes were looking unbelievable on this old Golf, so Edwin installed the new pads. Then I installed a new brake line that would adapt the Golf's brake system to the Porsche fitting on the new caliper. The last thing we need to do is fit the wheels to the car. But there's a problem. People will often say a number alongside a wheel. 5x100, 5x114, 5x130. That is essentially referring to the amount of lugs you've got. You've got a 5 lug or you've got a 4 lug. If you've got a French car, it might only have 3. In our case, Volkswagen Golf has 5x100. That is the spacing that they are all spaced on, 100 millimeters around. But the Porsche, 5x130, which in simple terms means that if I try and put this hub up to this wheel, they don't line up. There is no way that you could bolt this hub to this wheel. So what they make is adapters. So you'll see that these now line up with those holes. You bolt the actual adapter to the hub. Now they bolt through that. With the adapters installed, there was one final piece to add.
So our adapter is now on. This is a 20mm adapter, and then here is another 15mm spacer. So it's actually more than we're going to run. We're probably going to run around a 30mm. And with the spacer installed, I could put the new wheels on. That's dumb. That's really quite stupid, isn't it? The finishing touch was installing some proper Porsche centre caps. Will, on the other hand, had noticed something else.
Front brake's massive. Rear brakes from here,
Don't worry about
I
it.
genuinely cannot see the disc anymore.
It's pretty dumb, I know. You're supposed to switch to, you can get some Porsche calipers at the rear, but we're 17. You only got, you don't have the money for the fronts, you nicked the fronts. You don't have money to buy the rears. So therefore, it's quite stupid. But despite that, the Golf was looking exactly how I envisioned all those years ago, and it was finally time to see it on the ground for the very first time. Oh, that rear is quite aggressive. Sorry! That is my Volkswagen dreams. Look at that. I am absolutely over the moon with this. This car will, of course, get some other things, get it all painted up, and it will look good in the end. But the next episode, you're going to see Will's car getting its full interior redone. And then after that, we're back on this and getting this finished up. So tune in next week when we're going to do that. Click here to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.